Alright, hello and welcome to another recap ramble here. We didn't have them the past 2 weeks just due to me being very busy and then actually having a break last week, and then this one's late because I forgot this was a thing I did. But it's fine, it's gonna be out, it's cool, we're catching up on like 3 weeks of news, it's all good. But anyway, my recorder just froze for a second there, so I was scared, but starting things off, we have new support for Demise and Ruin, King of Oblivion and Queen of Armageddon. So their names or something like that. And we actually got new, basically, retrains of them that work with the old support as well. So first off, we have Demise, Supreme King of Armageddon. And this is a level 10 Dark Fiend Ritual Effect monster, 3000 attack and 3000 defense. And you can ritual summon this card with Endless of the World, which is the new ritual spell. Now, its name is treated as Demise, King of Armageddon, while in the hand or on the field. When this ritual summon card is in the monster zone, ritual monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle as a secondary effect. A third effect is if this card was ritual summoned using only ritual monsters, you do not have to pay life points to activate this card's effect, and for its life point paying effect, which is essentially what the old version of the card was known for, is once per turn you can pay 2,000 life points, destroy as many other cards in the field as possible, and if you do, inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each card that they controlled. So it still nukes the field, still hits your cards as well, but inflicts damage to your opponent for the cards that they controlled. Now, as for the Ruin rechain, we have Ruin, Graceful Queen of Oblivion. She's also at level 10, but she is a light fairy ritual effect monster, 2900 attack and 3000 defense. That big butt. But it can also be ritual summoned with Endless of the World. This card's name is treated as Ruin, Queen of Oblivion while in the hand or on the field. While this ritual summon card is in the monster zone, ritual monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. If this card was ritual summoned using only ritual monsters, it can make a second attack during each battle phase, and if this card destroys a monster by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. So it still has the double attack effect there, but it also inflicts the damage as well, so it's slightly more powerful there, and obviously 2900 being a lot bigger than it was before. Now, the being treated as the name while in hand or on field and stuff is important because of some other support cards they got, and important because it actually lets you summon them using the old ritual as well. Now we actually have a level 4 version of each of them as well. So we have Demise, Fiend of Armageddon. He's a level 4 Dark Fiend ritual effect monster, 1800 and 1000. And he can also be ritual summoned with Endless of the World. It's also treated as Demise in the hand or on the field. And if this card is ritual summoned, destroy one face-up monster on the field. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one face-up ritual monster you control. While that monster is face-up on the field, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to your ritual monster's effect activation. So he's a spot removal on summon, and also using him, you can kind of like target a face-up ritual monster you control, so like Demise, and then your opponent can't strike that or respond to the activation, things like that. We also have Ruin, Angel of Oblivion, a level 4 Light Fairy, 1700, 1000. It can also be summoned with Endless of the World and is treated as Ruin while in hand or on the field. And if this card is ritual summoned, page reloaded for a second, sorry about that. If this card is ritual summoned, activate this effect. This turn, this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase, so on summon, for that turn gets the double attack, so a mini Ruin right there. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one face-up ritual monster you control. While that monster is face-up on the field, when a ritual monster you control declares an attack, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects. So obviously the little Demise working better with Demise, and little Ruin working better with Ruin, protecting from mirror forces and stuff there. Now they also have a field spell, as is kind of tradition now. Every deck has a field spell, really. And it has 2 effects, with the second effect having 2 options here. So once per turn, you can target one ritual monster you control, reveal one ritual monster in your hand, and if you do, for the rest of the turn, keep it revealed, and have its level become the targeted monster's level. So you can go ahead and change the, if you summon a level 4, you can change the level of a level 10 in your hand to the level of the level 4, and then go ahead and ritual summon from there, which helps kind of facilitate the cost of a level 10 ritual there. And once per turn, if Ruin, Queen of Oblivion, or Demise, King of Armageddon is ritual summoned to your field, you can activate one of these effects, either draw one card or destroy one card on the field. Now, getting into the ritual spell here, Endless of the World, you'll see why the level manipulation thing and counting as their names is important. So this card is used to, it's Endless of the World, the ritual spell card, and this card is used to ritual summon Ruin, Queen of Oblivion, or Demise, King of Armageddon. So obviously that covers all 6 of the ritual monsters now that this kind of mini archetype has. Tribute monsters you control, whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the Ruin or the Demise, you ritual summon, and after that, ritual summon it from your hand. So that's the important part, and the main drawback of the deck is you have to use cards only on the field, so you have to ritual summon one of the small ones, use the effect of the field spell to go ahead and change one of the levels, then you can go ahead and summon them from there, or there's also some new support that helps as well. But that's one thing to keep in mind is you have to use materials on the field, or tribute fodder on the field, I should say. And during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can shuffle this card from your graveyard into the deck, add one End of the World, which is the old ritual spell, from your deck to your hand. Then you can add one Ruin, Queen of Oblivion, or Demise, King of Armageddon from your graveyard to your hand. So an interesting kind of bit to try and make it work with the old support there. We also have one more card, which is a trap card for ritual decks, which usually isn't pretty good as they are generally spell-heavy decks and don't run many traps. But we have Return of the World, which is a continuous trap card. You can only use one effect among the first and second effects with this card's name per turn, and only once that turn. When this card resolves, banish one ritual monster from your deck. And number 2, you can send this card to the graveyard, activate one of these effects, ritual summon the ritual monster banished by this card's effect, either by attributing one monster from your hand whose level equals or exceeds that banished monster's, or by shuffling into the deck one ritual monster from your graveyard whose level equals or exceeds that banished monster's, or add the monster banished by this card's effect to your hand. So you can only use one effect among the first. Okay, so you can. It's not bad, but it's a trap card, which makes it which really just does make it too slow. But we also have some more generic ritual support. Starting off with, we have Devi Ritual Talismandra. I probably butchered that name, but whatever. It's a level 6 Dark Plant Effect Monster 0/0. And you can only use one effect among the first and second effects with this card's name per turn, and only once that turn. So this one you can only use one of the 2 effects. You can reveal one ritual monster from your hand, special summon both this card from your hand and one Devi ritual monster except itself from your deck. 2, if this card is special summoned from the deck, you can add one ritual monster from your deck to your hand. And its third effect is you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck, so it locks you down to just ritual stuff there, instead of using these for link fodder or things like that, which is a good bit of design on Konami's part. Now, this will more come together when we go over the other one, which is Devi Ritual Candola, which is a level 4 Pyro Effect monster, also 0/0, and it's the counterpart to the other one we just went over. So it has the same stipulation of only using one of the first and second effects per turn, and you can reveal one ritual spell from your hand, special summon both this card from your hand and one Devi Ritual monster except itself from your deck. If this card is special summoned from the deck, you can add one ritual spell card from your deck to your hand, and you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. So they both have the counterpart there, where obviously the one that reveals a ritual spell, whenever you summon it from the deck, it adds a ritual spell, and the one where you reveal a ritual monster, whenever you summon it from the deck, adds a ritual monster. So since they summon the other one, inversely, you get the piece that you're missing. So you reveal a ritual monster, you summon one from hand, one from deck, and the one from deck grabs you a spell, and so on from there. And obviously their levels add up to 10, so it fits very nicely with the new Demise and Ruin stuff. Now, moving on from there, because that was a fucking boatload of information there. Jesus Christ, that was so long. Moving on to, what do we have up here? Oh, we have some more stuff from the Dark Saviors booster pack. So, where's the name? Oh, yes, here we go. Here's the name change. This is really what I wanted to go over here. We have Skyfang's name changed to Fur Hire. Oh my god, okay, I know what you're thinking. I hate Totally Awesome, I hate most of the gimmicky names and cards, but holy fuck, I fucking love that name. Oh my god, I love that name, because it means I'm the only person left online playing the deck, and to me, that's hilarious and amazing. So I love that. So just a quick note about that there. Oh, it's so bad, but I love it. Anyway, we have a new card for Mech Knights, which is actually Legacy Mech Memory. It is a quick play spell card, and you can only activate it. It's a hard once per turn. So you can special summon one Mech Knight monster from your hand or deck in face-up defense position, but is returned to the hand during the end phase, and you cannot special summon monsters except Mech Knight monsters for the rest of the turn. So it's essentially an E-Tele for Mech Knights, which is just a kind of a cool little thing that they got thrown there. Moving on from there, we have Destiny Hero Disc Commander Eroded, and it actually changed the effect to make it very limited. They gave it 2 changes, each of which on its own would have been enough to actually kind of make this card able to come back. Now, it still has the same stats, but the first line now reads, you can only use this card's name's effect once per duel, and it cannot be special summoned from the graveyard during the turn it was sent there. So this has to now be sent to the grave, then during your next turn you can bring it back, and you only get the draw effect once per turn. It still has that effect at the end there after both of those stipulations as well. If it was just once per duel, it would have been fine. If it was except the turn it was sent to the grave, it would have been fine. They gave it both, and let's be honest, they kind of killed the card there. Moving on to some more ritual support. Yet again, we're going to be going over rituals a lot in this one. We have a new Summon Skull ritual, which is Advent Skull Archfiend. It is a Dark Fiend ritual that is 2500, 1200, so 6 stars, 2500 stack, the Summon Skull stat line there. And you can ritual summon this card with Contract with the Abyss. It's also treated as Summon Skull while it is in the Monster Zone as its first effect. It has a second effect, which is this card on the field cannot be destroyed by battle with non-ritual monsters, and cannot be destroyed by non-ritual monsters' effect. So it's still susceptible to spell and trap removal, but it can't really be hit by non-ritual monsters. And also, if this ritual summon card in its owner's control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, either by battle or by card effect, you can special summon one Summon Skull from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So it does work with the original layer and floats, but the floating is a little bit weird since it's kind of susceptible to destruction. But if they do go ahead and out it, you can actually kind of plus off of it by summoning a Summon Skull, I guess, more of a negation of the cost, essentially. But owner's card is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, either by battle or by card effect. Okay, yeah, so it's by just being sent to the grave by an opponent's card. No specifics really there. So what else do we have on here as well? Oh, yes, we have some more ritual support, except this time more interesting. So you know how Cyberse is kind of the new link focus type they brought out, like with 5Ds we saw Psychics, we saw Worms later on, and now we kind of have Cyberse being obviously the new type for links. Well, they actually have a ritual monster, which is a level 7 Dark Cyberse ritual monster, 2500 attack and 2000 defense, and you can ritual summon it with Signet Ritual. It has a few effects here. The first line of its text being, have all damage you would take, which is interesting there. I guess it comes in handy. Nothing really too stellar, but it's nice. If you control a link monster, your opponent cannot target your monsters for an attack or for a card effect except this one. So we've seen a lot of cards with that ritual. We've seen quite a few cards with that kind of text in Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously, the most relevant kind of being Dupe Frog, since you can special them from deck. But again, it's nothing to really write home about. When this card battles a Link monster, it gains 1000 attack during damage calculation only. It can crash the board load, I guess. Again, nothing super stellar. And if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can add one Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. So overall, it does a few things. None of them on their own overpowering are that great, but altogether is a decent card. Now, Signet Ritual, the ritual spell, this card can be used to ritual summon any Cyberse ritual monsters, so there will be more of these coming up, and in fact, there already are. Ritual summon one Cyberse ritual monster from your hand by tributing monsters you control or have in your hand whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the monster you ritual summon. Also, during your main phase, except during the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card and one ritual monster from the graveyard, special summon two Signet tokens in defense. It only says token, but I'm assuming it should be token. But yes, so that's actually pretty good. Obviously, that means none of these Cyberse rituals will be pre-preparation of rights able. They won't be able to be searched off of pre-preparation of rights. So that does suck, but again, being able to banish the ritual spell from the grave to get 2 tokens, especially with how Cyberse is a more link-focused deck, is actually pretty good, and combos well with the next monster as well. We have Cyber's Witch, which is a Link to Dark Cyber's Link monster with 800 attack, with bottom left and bottom arrows, and it requires 2 Cyber's monsters. So you can actually use the tokens from the ritual spell to make this. And it has 2 hard once per turn effects. If a monster is special summoned to your zone this card points to, you can banish 1 spell card from your graveyard, add 1 Cyber's Ritual monster, and 1 Silent Ritual from your deck to your hand. So it's essentially functioning as a pre-preparation of rights for any Cyber's Ritual monsters. And during a main phase, if you activate this card's 1 effect during this turn, you can target 1 level 4 or lower Cyber's monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So that, to me, is definitely the strongest of the new cards. It gets you the ritual, it gets something back that you can then use to summon the ritual. I just think that that's overall a very strong card. There's also some more Cyber's monsters released, but I'm going to skip over those just for time here, since I still have like 8 tabs open. But anyway, that one zoomed in. I don't know why I did that. We have Mirror Force Launcher, which is a continuous trap card that searches mirror forces. It's now searchable. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2018, boys. Here we go. So once per turn during your main phase, you can discard 1 monster, add 1 mirror force from your deck or graveyard to your hand. It also has an effect where if this set card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can take this card from the graveyard and 1 mirror force from your hand, deck, or graveyard and set them to your field. The cards set by this effect can be activated during the turn they are set. So this can be outed once it's face up, but if your opponent hits it while it's face down, it will actually kind of give them a little bit of a plus there, which obviously, if you're running mirror forces, your opponent will want to be outing your back row, and if they hit this, it's just bad. So it will put a little bit of fear of hitting mirror forces into your opponent. The discarding a monster instead of any card is a little bit restrictive there, but again, searchable mirror force, still pretty cool, decent card overall there. My throat is extraordinarily dry, and I forgot to get some water before this, but we're rolling with it. Here, I have some old tea next to me. This has been sitting. We're gonna do it. Cold mint green tea. All right, here we go. So we actually have for any Element Saber or Element Lord fans out there, anyone kind of wanting and waiting for that stuff, we have some updated text to Grand Sorrel, the Elemental Lord. Obviously, he was using, I believe, some FTKs. That's why he was banned, but they actually went ahead and updated his text so that he will still be able to be used with the new Element Saber or Element Lord support. So they changed his text to, I believe the change is actually highlighted here. So it now has a line that says, you can only use this effect of Grand Sorrel, the Elemental Lord, once per turn. So they just went ahead and added a hard once per turn on there, which will make him a lot more balanced and bring him back, which I believe they said they will have him unbanned by the time that support does drop. We have the entire TCG spoiler for the Lair of Darkness structure deck, which comes out next month. Not sure of an exact date on it. Actually, wait, does it say there? No, that's the date this was posted on. But it's coming out soon, definitely within a month, I believe. It has all the new stuff. Caius the Megamonic reprint, which I believe was actually weirdly pricey. There's a Vanity's Fiend reprint. Plague Wolf. Oh my god, I played that card so much when I got back into the game. Oh, I love that card. I actually do. Stygian Street Patrol, Phantom of Chaos, Fiendish Rhino Warrior, Tour Guide, Curry Bandit. Let's see, anything else? Another Allure reprint, because for some reason Allure is still pricey. A Foolish Burial Goods. That's actually a very good reprint there. Not an expensive card by any means, but it's nice to have. Grinning Grave Virus, Crush Card Virus, Deck Devi, Eradicator, Full Force, all of those reprinted in there. Dark Light, which I believe was actually really expensive. Mind Crush, and is reprinted as well. So that's actually pretty interesting there. Some good reprints in there. Konami's been doing decent with actually keeping kind of the OCG lists of decks and the TCG lists similar, and actually giving us some pretty good stuff in there overall. This one's sad. Now I know I just talked about how I liked For Hire, but well, we have to go over this. So the card, where's his name here? Mech Knight Arvram, the kind of the level 4 normal monster. That's a what's it called? Extreme Yeah, Extreme Forces Special Edition promo, which is just like a level 4 vanilla Mech Knight, basically. His Japanese flavor text was, "The hero who defends the light of the stars must destroy the darkness of the illusionary world and entrust his powers to the Chosen One. The will inherited by the chalice of the stars will become a new key and become the sword that cuts down darkness." That's some epic fucking manga anime shit coming out of the Japan flavor text right there. And you know what we got in the TCG? In quotes, "Check this out," with this in all caps. And I have nothing more to say on that issue. Now, also, the Extreme Force Special Edition, which are dropping on the 23rd, which is either very soon. It's either going to be, I might get this out tonight, or you might be seeing this Friday morning. So it's either out tomorrow / in a few hours, or today. So moving on from there. Not moving on from there. Actually, just moving on to the other promos. The biggest one being Called by the Grave, which is obviously the new kind of counter to hand traps. If you don't know, it's a quick play spell card. You target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do until the end of the next turn, its effects are negated, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of monsters with the same original name. So it's basically a better DD Crow that negates effects, so obviously hand traps discard for cost. You banish the hand trap as Chainlink 2, and the effect is negated, allowing you to continue going off from there. There's also a reprint of Galaxy Eyes Cypherblade Dragon, if anybody was looking for that, and a reprint of Psyframe Gear Gamma as well. It was also used as counter to hand traps. I've never liked it, but it is some player preference there. Another bit of news, which is only really relevant to North America, we have Summon Sorceress announced as a weekly Shonen Jump promotional card for the North American region. So if you're not signed up for that, you can go ahead and sign up for it. It's also the same way we got Link Karibo. So there are some expensive cards coming out in this. I know John Moore said this would probably be somewhere around a $20 card, and I believe subscriptions are like $20 to $30 for like the whole year or something. You get like 4 cards out of it, I think. So just getting this will kind of pay for that, and they just like send you the cards in the mail, I believe. So I don't know when exactly the deadline is on that. I know House of Champs, aka John Moore, has done a video on that. So he has like a little tutorial video on how to sign up for those and when the cutoff deadline is and stuff, if you are really looking for a Summon Sorceress there. For that other Cyberus ritual that was hinted at, we have Paladin of Storm Dragon. Now this is a level 4 light Cyberus ritual effect monster, which is 1900 attack and 900 defense, and this is obviously falling in the Paladin ritual monster vein, where Red Eyes has a Paladin, Blue Eyes, I think Galaxy Eyes has one, and now there's a Cyberus one as well. So it's summoned with Signet Ritual, and both of the effects of this card are hard once per turns. At the start of the damage step, when this card attacks a monster, you can return that monster to the hand. So at the start of the damage step, that's actually a pretty decent effect. And you can tribute this card, special summon one level 5 or higher Cyberus monster from your hand or deck, but that monster cannot activate its effects this turn. So this card can actually help you out a big monster, then push for a little damage, maybe go for game. You can summon out another Cyberus monster that might, send some tokens when it goes to the grave, some things like that. So it definitely has some applications there. This is a bit of news for the OCG, but we might see translated to the TCG, might see not. But the Starter Deck 2018 for the OCG has a Link Karibo reprint. So if Konami keeps up its trend of keeping the lists and imports and reprints in these decks the same for us, then we should see a Link Karibo reprint as well, but it won't be for a few months here, I believe, and we might not see it overall, but just something to be on the lookout for. And for our final bit of news here, finally getting through it all, I've been talking nonstop for like 25 minutes now. We have the Flames of Destruction Sneak Preview card, the ultra rare you get if you go to Sneak Preview, which is Monster Reborn. Now, this is a normal spell card, and if you don't know, it is a card that lets you target 3 monsters in your graveyard. Your opponent chooses one, you special summon it, and if you do, banish the rest. You can only activate 1 Monster Reborn per turn. So it's essentially a more watered-down version of Monster Reborn, where you have 3 monsters in your graveyard, and your opponent picks one for you to special, but they don't have to be different names. You could, pick some stuff that, maybe pluses from being banished, 3 cards that do that, and kind of get some pluses off of that as well, and it still gets you a free monster onto the field anyway. So overall, a fairly decent card that most people have recommended holding on to, since it is a ultra rare that could be fairly relevant and definitely has some applications here and there. But anyway, one more quick drink to wet my whistle here. Well, my throat is extraordinarily dry. Holy shit, that's what happens when you talk straight for 25 minutes. But anyway, yes, this was just a quick little recap ramble. These aren't done. I just had 2 weeks where I wasn't able to get them out, but they will be returning. Hopefully they will be shorter than this. Hopefully I will be able to go over things in more detail and cover some more news as well, but I had to skip on a few points for this week to get back into it. But anyway, yes, usual plugs, links to my Twitter, Discord, and Patreon down in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.